Darkness rises and light to meet it. And beyond that, in the middle, is balance of the force. Execute Order 66. Do it.
Execute Order 66. If you really want a problem, we can get it lit. Ignite the lightsaber, we can get it in. Ignite the lightsaber, we can get it in. Execute Order 66. If you really want a problem, we can get it lit. Ignite the lightsaber.
This is a rewatch because I've seen these movies 1,000 times. This is a rewatch review of all the Star Wars movies. I'm starting out today with Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace, Episode 1. So in the timeline, this is the first part of the story. This is chronological order that I'm doing these. So let's start with Episode 1, Phantom Menace. As a kid, I don't remember disliking this movie. I was hyped from the remastered versions that they re-put in theater. My older brother brought me to those movies. I loved them. I don't remember any hate back then when I was watching it. When I got older and I got away from Star Wars, like as your interests do when you're, going to high school and beyond that. People's negativity made you feel like Episode 1 wasn't great, but it's definitely one of the lesser tiers of the franchise, but I love it. Few things I love about it. I'm gonna go positive here. I know I'm a super positive guy, and you guys like me because of that, man. I'm just like Tony Robbins and, just like inspirational, bro. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I still don't know who the Phantom Menace is to this day. I honestly, I'm guessing it's Palpatine. He's the Phantom, and he's a menace. Well, anyway, one thing that I really noticed about Qui-Gon Jinn is that he's not very good at Jedi mind trick. He tried to do it to Watto when he met Anakin Skywalker as a little young boy, and it didn't work. He's like, "What are you, a Jedi or something? Are you a Jedi?" And that's how trash he was at it, because he didn't. I guess maybe in some respect, he's not an idiot. It works on weak-minded people, and it didn't work on Watto. He's a slave owner, but that doesn't mean he's an idiot. Another thing I liked is that Padme held her identity for a while. It was a rough 20-something minutes meeting Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. It was in my opinion, fairly boring as a kid watching Trade Federation discussions and negotiations about the Republic. So that's not the greatest part, but later on, I like the underwater sequence where it's like there's always a bigger fish. Quotes like that are cool. Meeting Jar Jar wasn't the greatest thing in the world, and I was like maybe 11 years old or something when Episode 1 came out, and I don't remember disliking Jar Jar, but it wasn't what I was looking for in the movie. So the underwater scene was beautiful. Where the Gungans are from, the whole thing actually makes sense. And the underwater world was just like, that's pretty much Aquaman today. A lot of stuff that George Lucas did for Episode 1, 2, and 3 really led the way for directors to take it to the next level. They took a lot of the stuff he did, that he innovated, that just took it to the next level for somewhere else. Avatar, these Marvel movies, all of these technologies is like Star Wars put the base down for these things. So Jar Jar doesn't bother me as much as other people. And little Annie, leave little Annie alone. And if you don't remember, when little Annie met Padme, he said, "Are you an angel?" Because I heard from the outer regions that there's beautiful beings. And you're beautiful. Throwing game real early, little Anakin. I wasn't that slick when I was that age. You the man. You know what you want early in life. But cool thing about little Annie, he was a slave boy born with no father. In case you don't know, he's just like Jesus Christ, born with no father, just made from the will of the Force. And in his room, in his childhood room, he's like, oh, come meet my droid that I made, which is 3PO. So 3PO is the original son of Anakin Skywalker. He created him from his own self. Maz Kanata is a statue in his bedroom. So the fact that later on they brought in Maz Kanata in the later movies, it's cool homage to episode 1, and it shows that they're paying attention to even the prequels, because prequels don't get the greatest rep ever. That's an understatement. But the Maz Kanata statue was awesome there, because it connects things from 6-7 movies from now. So it's cool. I like all that. You meet 3PO butt naked without his gold on, and R2 jokes to him that he's naked, and he doesn't realize it because he was born there on Tatooine, created on Tatooine. He don't know if little Annie didn't tell him, and you don't know. But I think it was cool when the whole pod race thing was cool to me. I always thought that was cool. It was well done, and it's working. It's working. That was cool, man. When I was a kid watching that, like a kid making his own pod and racing against adults, and in the movie they said, you know, that takes Jedi, you know, Force level skills to ride a pod as a human and not die. So that was impressive if you really look into this. So let's talk about one thing that upsets people. Let's talk about it. Let's elephants in the room. Let's just talk about it right now. The Metachlorians. When Qui-Gon Jinn explains to little Annie, see, the Metachlorians are in our bloodstreams, and the Metachlorian count on this young man apparently is higher than Master Yoda, after Obi-Wan Kenobi sends him a little message giving him the results of the blood test. So that part doesn't bother me, man. I don't know why it bothers you, but fight me. Go to the comments down there, put why you don't like Metachlorians and why it's so annoying to you. Just stop. It's fine. It's fine. And I ain't gonna open my eyes until I feel it's fine. Okay. The rest of the, you know, it has its slow parts, and it's interesting to see that if Qui-Gon didn't say, Annie, duck, Anakin, he would have got his head chopped off by Darth Maul, and that would have been the end of that. Like, the movie's over. The saga's over. No more Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan Kenobi, meet Anakin Skywalker. Nice to meet ya. Happy you're my buddy. That was a little corny, but I like it. It was an introduction of probably my 2 favorite characters of all time. And why not? Calm down. It's a movie. Later on in the movie, the Gungans, they come in and Misa join you in the fight. And that's always a little distracting watching it as an adult, that part. But when it gets to the lightsaber part towards the end of the movie, it really shows a lot of volume in the patience of Qui-Gon Jinn. And I was shitting on him earlier for having Jedi mind trick fatigue or whatever it was that day. He had a bad day, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, Qui-Gon. But you know, his meditation was on point, and you see the rage on Darth Maul's face, pacing back and forth, the anger of the Sith, and the reaction to Obi-Wan Kenobi watching his master get murdered by Darth Maul is great, especially if you watch the later stuff and you see Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and their journey facing each other and all the shit they've been through together as enemies. So that was the first of him killing his master. That the meditation part was just really cool to see because it shows patience in the Jedi and versus the Sith. A really clear distinction on that, which is pretty cool, man. So that was the first introduction to let's say the high ground in episode 1, because when Obi-Wan was the one in the low ground, he jumped up and chopped Darth Maul right in half and he fell right down. And that was the end for Darth Maul, and it wasn't. You see the story continue on from Clone Wars to Rebels, and that doesn't end there. But Qui-Gon Jinn looks Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan trained him. He is the chosen one. Yes, master. Yes, master. Yes, master. I will train the boy. So even Obi-Wan had a feeling about, yo, this little kid, there's something wrong with this kid, man. You gotta watch out for this little kid. He's gonna be the death of us. But he promises Anakin, he's like, I will train you. You will be a Jedi. Oh, one thing I forgot. They told him to stay in the ship, little Annie. Like, oh, unless I'm staying in the ship. And he blew up a whole station, and he's a little kid. And I guess they wanted to show his force powers, but that wasn't necessary, because they showed that in the pod race when they told you that no Jedi, I mean no kid could do that. Only a Jedi could do that. Jedi force capabilities to do something like that as a human, to do a pod race is too dangerous for a human. And they showed how great of a pilot he was, but they really wanted to show you, I guess, in connection to Luke Skywalker later on destroying the Death Star. His father also was a great pilot. Like, boom, he blew up a little station. That was fine. That's why I think this movie doesn't suck, but it's not the greatest Star Wars movie. The ending Darth Maul scene with them fighting was awesome, but other than that, this movie is just pretty average. It's a fun movie to watch. It's a quotable movie to watch, and I loved it. You know, it's a special occasion out here. I wore my tie for you guys. I'm dressing up for the occasion. You know, this is a red carpet event. Before I go, this was the end of my episode 1 review, but hey, check out my fam over here, man. You know, shout out to all my bobbleheaders out there. You know, we out here. Welcome back to Watch the Pot YouTube page, and more will continue. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, shall arrive very shortly after you're watching this, young Jedi. And after that will be Revenge of the Sith, which today is my favorite movie of every Star Wars. Fight me in the comments. Fight me in the comments down there, because Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie out of 10 movies. So I'm going to talk about the prequels first, then I'm going to go into the 2 middle movies, which is Solo, Rogue One. Then I'm going to the original trilogy, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to review Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Right on time, so we'll be ready for Rise of Skywalker. As far as that goes, darkness rises and light to meet it, and balance in between it. Subscribe to Watch the Pot YouTube. I shall see you on the other side of darkness.